Firepower. The U.S. Army and Marine Corps examined a new generation of light armored vehicles and the new M1047 LAV. Based on the GM Canada light armored vehicle, itself based on the Swiss Maoak Piranha, the M1047 was an 8x8 wheeled armored vehicle with a turret armed with a 25mm Bushmaster automatic cannon and a 7.62mm medium machine gun. While the Army declined to adopt the M1047, the Marine Corps embraced the new vehicle. The Marines would use what they called the LAV-25 as an infantry fighting vehicle, a kind of Bradley Light, and made room for 6 infantrymen to sit inside. The Marines created 4 light armored vehicle battalions, 1 per Marine division. The LAV was designed for both strategic and tactical mobility, giving Marines the edge in so-called maneuver warfare theory, a form of tactics widely adopted by the U.S. Marine Corps in the 1980s. Maneuver warfare theory emphasized the ability to outmaneuver enemy forces over firepower to win battles, and the LAV epitomized that ability. The LAV has a road speed of 62 miles an hour, allowing it to travel swiftly down roads, thanks to a 275 horsepower turbocharged diesel engine. It was fully amphibious, and with the attachment of a trim vane could do 6.5 miles an hour in the water. The vehicle could be carried by C-5, C-141, C-17 and C-130 transport aircraft, and could even be lifted by a CH-53E Sea Stallion helicopter. The LAV occupies a middle ground between the Marine Corps fleet of heavy tanks and lighter Humvees, and as a result the LAV fleet needed its own recovery vehicle to recover damaged and disabled vehicles. The LAV-L has a hydraulic crane rated for loads up to 6,600 pounds and a 30,000 pound winch for pulling vehicles out of mud, trenches, and other hazardous ground conditions. Several specially armed LAV variants were also procured. The LAV anti-tank version, or LAVAT, mounts a turret with 2 long-range anti-tank guided missile launchers, plus 14 more missile reloads. This gave the Marines, which had previously placed TOW missiles on M151 Jeeps, a protected, more powerful and more survivable anti-tank package. The LAV-M mortar vehicle carries an 81mm mortar and its crew of 3, and the LAVAD air defense variant has a 5-barrel 25mm Gatling gun, a pack of 4 Stinger missiles, and a 70mm rocket pod. The LAV-25 first saw combat in Panama in 1989, when provocations by the government of General Manuel Noriega against the United States forced the Pentagon to dispatch the Marines to beef up security. LAVs further saw combat in the U.S. invasion of the country in August. The LAV's mobility allowed it to roll quickly down the streets of Panama and even cross the canal in amphibious mode. In 1990 the 1st Marine Division's LAV Battalion deployed to Saudi Arabia, where it served in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. LAVs were typically used in the screening role, identifying Iraqi forces ahead of the rest of the division, although they were occasionally used in pitched battles when the Iraqis unexpectedly attacked, particularly at the Battle of Khafji. Although the LAVs generally faced heavier Iraqi T-55, T-62 and T-72 tanks, LAVAT vehicles could handle the heavier vehicles, while those armed with 25mm Bushmaster guns engaged lightly armored Iraqi armored personnel carriers, unarmored vehicles, and dismounted Iraqi personnel. Crews even discovered that their 25mm armor-piercing rounds could penetrate the flank and rear armor of T-55 tanks. In 2003 LAVs participated in the invasion of Iraq. LAVs had been redesignated light armored reconnaissance battalions in the mid-1990s, a more appropriate description for units that barely had any infantry and scouted ahead of larger, heavier Marine forces. LAV units took part in the initial invasion and subsequent